Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Divakar and I teach physics at Ask IITians. Today we'll be discussing 25-27 planners because as you're progressing with your preparation towards JEE, what are the plans for the coming years? That is something I want to get you acquainted with, right? And you may probably have a lot of questions regarding this stuff, so you can ask in between the sessions. All right, so this session basically will give you a brief about how your 11th and 12th grade preparation will work, how Ask IITian can help you in achieving your goal of qualifying JEE Advanced or JEE means whatever like your goal is. My suggestion will be take a goal of JEE Advanced, right? So as you already know that Ask IITian is like one of the finest education institutions that you have in our country, so and abroad as well. Why I'm telling you this thing, if you ask me my like personal experience, my experience has been with a lot of institutions, and what I've realized is the amount of commitment Ask IITian has towards the students, right? You generally see that happening in a lot of institutions. And one core thing that I feel which is there with Ask IITians and is not there with a lot of institutes is the interaction at a personal level. All right, so Ask IITian is covering all dimensions, right? They can think of, for example, one is teaching. So they are making sure you get best quality teaching. Then a structured preparation. For that, we have taken a lot of measures. So you will see that in a while, and some of it you are already like aware of. Apart from that, testing is a very important segment. But after all these, you need some personal attention, right? So on that front, also Ask IITian takes it really seriously. That okay, you will have to be in personal contact with the students, see what their doubts are in DRS sessions and everything. And the teachers are very helpful. That is what I have observed. And that is why I say that Ask IITian is one of the finest institutions you will see. And it has both like its branches in online as well as offline segments. Now let's discuss a little bit about how we will achieve whatever we are promising, right? So the first thing in that segment is why should you choose online tutoring? Now, if I ask you about offline tutoring, then in offline tutoring, there are certain advantages, but there are some drawbacks as well. For example, if you talk about convenience, right, availability of teachers, that you may not be able to get in offline institutions, right? The reason for that is in online institution, let's say if you want to connect with a teacher at 9:30 and you tell support that, okay, I want to connect with that teacher at 9:30 and the teacher is available, you can instantly connect on Zoom and you don't have to travel for it. The teacher doesn't have to travel for it. So it's a convenience from both the side. Second thing is it saves a lot of travel time, right? So if let's say in a particular situation, if you are traveling for half an hour going to the institute and then coming back half an hour, you are wasting your 1 hour in just commute, right? And that 1 hour can be utilized either in form of studies, of course, or whatever extracurricular time you have, spending time with the family or increasing the quality of life, basically, that also you can do in that time duration. Now, what else online tutoring offers is more flexibility in class schedule. For example, a student wants to have a DRS session, right? And because of some reason you couldn't take it, right? And there's a particular slot in which the student and the teacher both are available. So in that case, you can schedule it immediately and have your doubt get clarified. So that flexibility is more or less only possible like when you have online interactions, because in offline interaction, the teacher may have to travel, you may have to travel, and then things can get really tough. Then one more thing which you will understand, which is not possible in online if you have a large batch size. But since we believe in smaller batch sizes, so personalized attention is also possible in case of online tutoring if you keep the batch size small, which is something which we adhere to, right? And we make sure that each and every student is attended, right? And we will be able to like gauge the student at the personal level. Now, after that, if you take offline classes, right, and you try to record, it becomes really clumsy, right? But in online classes, since the platform is built in such a way, right, the classes, whatever you do, they're recorded in a very great fashion and such that if you want to see the classes again or you want to revisit some concept, that becomes really handy. After that, if you talk about board and all, when you write on board, right, first thing, the record is not there, whatever was written on the board. Second thing is, Sometimes if you want to show simulations, for example, and you want to make it, let's say, really colorful and also that it becomes engaging, and if you want to conduct, let's say, some quizzes which are very interactive, so that is possible if you are doing it in online mode, and it's not possible, right, or possible with very great difficulty in offline mode. Now simulations are a very great thing. I'll tell you why. Because in online environment, if you have a simulation setup, right, it's very easy to access it. It's very easy to send it to the students so that students can also play around with it and get understanding of it. In offline arrangement, that also becomes really difficult because you need to have the setup physically present there. Sometimes you will be able to arrange it, sometimes you will not be able to arrange it, and sometimes it doesn't work that well. And then you will have risk of like somebody may get hurt in doing those experiments and all that stuff. So all in all, there are few things that you can only do in online environment, and there are a lot of things that you are doing in offline environment can be done better if you are doing it online. If anybody has any doubt up to this point, they can ask, right? And then I proceed further. Anyone has any concerns, they can ask, whether it's live audience or it's like the people who are in Zoom. So you can use chat for it, or you can just speak up. Fine. So I hope we are sorted about this thing, that online has a lot of advantages over the offline system that we have, right? And after that, how we are achieving, like, first of all, I did, told you that what are the domains which basically Ask IITian is covering. Then I told you how online tutoring can have an edge over the offline tutoring system. Now I'll explain you how we basically achieve whatever we are promising. So first thing among that is our OneNote. So OneNote is a platform where basically we put all our notes, right, whatever we write, right, in the class, so that you have a record of it, what has happened in the class. And if in case you want to revisit it, you'll be able to revisit it. Now you may say, is it only for notes? No, it's like a resource repository. What do I mean by resource repository? So if you see the headings over there, it has, first of all, the segregation of 11th grade physics, right, in chapters. Now, if you click on each chapter, you will have a set of notes, right, which are corresponding to specific topics. Apart from that, you have your NCRT available there. You have your mind map available there. You have your revision note available there. You have your module available there. You have student PPT available there. And all in all, you have doubt section as well. So all the material that you need for your preparation is compiled at a single place. So if you visit this place and you're looking for anything, be it your module, be it your homework, be it your DPPs, anything, you can take a look at this and you'll be able to get it. Now, this tells us something else as well. When we teach something, what are expectations? We expect that whenever we write something, student revisits it. So for that, you have notes. Second thing is, the minimum requirement is to complete the DPPs. Now, why DPPs are there and what are they for? So DPPs are basically slightly above CBSE level, but they have subjective as well as objective questions. Meaning the DPPs will prepare you for your boards if you write and submit it, and the objective questions will give you some preparation of mains as well. I'm not saying DPPs are sufficient to qualify mains. DPPs are sufficient to ace in your boards and have some edge. After that, there will be specific homework that will be allotted to you on the basis of the study module that you get. So the teacher, after every lecture, places the message in WhatsApp that, okay, this is the homework for today's class and this is what you need to complete it by the next class, right? And the homework, if you want to access, or you want to access your DPPs, or you want to access anything else, this is the place where you need to visit, nowhere else. Next thing what we do is how the whole progression goes, basically. Once we have taught your class, right, how the whole progression goes. So in the whole progression, understand, first of all, if you join, let's say right now you have joined, so you will have your bridge classes first. So bridge classes, again, you will have your OneNote arrangement, right? In this, everything will be written, DPP and everything will be there. And bridge course is a course that is there to aid you in the upcoming grades. So 1 month, it's a curated course by our experts, right? And this course will help you when you go to the next class. For example, a student is there in 9th grade. So some part of 10th grade will be taught to you in 9th grade itself, so that when you go to 10th grade, you will not find it that difficult and you'll always have an edge if you compare it with other institutes, right? Or other students, basically. Fine. Then after that, you will have your orientation session, which will happen in March and April. Then April to December, your curriculum basically goes and your syllabus will be finished within this duration, until unless some exceptions are there. For example, sometimes what happens is students are very like engaging and they are solving a lot of questions, they are asking a lot of doubts. So sometimes it gets extended a little bit. But apart from that, you will find that April to December, that is that major teaching time, and we finish the syllabus in this duration itself. Then in the month of Jan and Feb, we mainly focus on our revision aspect. So in revision aspect, what you will have revisions of whatever you have learned throughout the year. Then you'll have PTMs, mentoring session. That will happen throughout the year as well. So I'll explain you that in the later segment. We do not leave you there also. What we do next is, if the exam is really near, right? So for example, the exam for Jan attempt is in last week of the January, right? So we'll conduct some crash course as well, apart from revision classes. Now you may ask, what is the difference between revision classes and crash course? So revision classes is basically you will be dealing with all the topics, right, in brief. But in crash course, we mainly focus on problem solving, and it will be specifically focused towards a particular exam which is coming up. Next is there anyone who has any doubt up to this point? You can just put it in the comments and I'll try to answer that. Fine. Now, as far as academic planner is concerned, okay, I got a question here. How to balance between boards and JEE in the month of Jan and Feb? Very good. So the caller has asked a question that how to balance between JEE and board exam when you are in January month. First of all, in 11th grade, you don't have the JEE thing there, sorry, JEE thing there, right? It will come in grade 12. So 11th grade, there will be no problem. As far as 12th grade is concerned, you will have to confine your material. So let me give you an idea. Let's say you are preparing for 11th grade. Whatever you are doing for JEE will be helpful in solving, let's say, all the numericals that will come in boards. So numerical part of the boards, you don't have to prepare separately. That is already prepared with your JEE preparation. Now, there are two more things, two aspects for it are there. One thing is, what about the short definitions that may come in the exam, and what about the derivations that they come in the exam? So about short questions that they come in the exam, the teachers will tell you that, okay, this is the definition that will come in the exam. This is the definition that will come in the exam. And apart from that, a compilation of derivations will be shared with you, all right, before the 12th grade exam, because that board exam will have certain number of derivations that will come, and all the derivations you do in JEE may not be relevant. So you'll be shared for short answers and numericals. You'll rely on your JEE preparation. That part is covered. Then the derivation part, a compilation will be shared with you. Although it will be covered in JEE, but still it will be shared with you so that the derivation part also you don't lag. So the overall preparation will go hand in hand. You don't have to see like board as a separate entity and JEE as a separate entity. Then it will become a very cumbersome thing. There are three pillars. One is short answer type question. Second is derivation. Third is numerical. So short answer type numericals you are, and derivations also you are doing in JEE. But for derivation specifically also you are practicing for drawing and all that stuff. So you don't have to prepare that separately, right? The process goes hand in hand so that when you reach in the month of Feb, you don't feel burdened. Apart from that, we try to finish our syllabus by November end, right? Maximum first week of December. So you get 2 months, right, to focus on like the stuff for boards or like the stuff for JEE. So you will not face that difficulty because no new content is coming. You just have to revise this stuff, whatever you have studied for the coming weeks. Does that like are you clear with what I'm saying? Like, is there any other doubt pertaining to that?
No, sir.
Fine. Yeah. So this is what a typical planner for JEE like course looks like. So you will have 3 classes per week. One class will go for 1.5 hours. And one day will be there for test. So 3 physics class in a week, 3 chemistry class in a week, and 3 mathematics class in a week. And each class will be for 1.5 hours. So 4.5 hours of teaching you will have every week per subject. So that's like the days which are mentioned here may not be accurate because sometimes like we talk to the students and the days may change a little bit. But this is like briefly overall, that is why I've written sample planner, which how the course goes. Now, what are the edges we have, right? Or what is the basically process, right, that we follow? So session and notes, you have live classes, right, which are happening at the specified duration. I told you 4.5 hours per subject every week. So you have live classes. Then after the live classes, you have class recordings, right? Class recordings will be available to you. And then class notes, as in OneNote. Now for parents, right, how we interact with the parents. So for parents, you have PTMs. So for parents, you have PTMs, then you have monthly report card. Mentoring once a month, that means your teacher, right, will be allotted to the kid, will meet the kid, right, once a month and will try to understand what the problem the kids are facing. And on the basis of that, he'll be able to like suggest you some solutions. Now, this is something which I feel is really important because parents should be kept in the loop of whatever is happening at the institute. If they are not being kept at the loop and suddenly they realize that, okay, the whole year has gone and my kid hasn't improved at all, that causes a lot of problems. And that we understand, and that is why we take this thing very seriously, right? So whenever a parent, let's say, wants to meet a teacher, I hope you have tried this as well. That it's readily available, right? So you ask the support, they find availability, and they try to arrange the session as soon as possible. So that parent and the teacher, they are in the same loop. Mentoring sessions are also very important because each kid, I feel, is different, right? So problem of one kid could be understanding questions. Problem of other could be calculation problems. Problem of the third kid could be time management. Problem of the fourth kid could be, let's say, distractions, playing games and all. So each kid has a different issue and needs to be resolved independently. And that is why I feel that mentoring sessions come really handy. Then you get a batch pace tracker. Batch pace tracker basically tells you what is the pace of your batch, as the name suggests. So batch pace tracker will have all the topics that are there to be covered and where the class is going right now. So it will be like updated in there and it will be shared with you so that you'll get a track of whatever is going in the sessions. Then you have WhatsApp. So if the parent is linked on with his number or her number on the WhatsApp, the parent will get access to everyday information on WhatsApp. For example, I taught motion in a plane today. So how will the parent know what I taught or what I did? Right. So for that purpose, what we decided that we'll put a message in the WhatsApp group, right, with the topic that has been taught and whatever the homework is. And if at all there is some concern they want to put it, they can put it in the WhatsApp group so that the parent is in loop throughout the time. Then we discuss the session thing. We discussed how we keep parents in the loop. Next thing is how we evaluate it because we are doing something and the parents are also involved in it. Then what is the outcome? So in order to test that, we have test series. So test series, I'll show you the format after this, right? So how many tests will happen, but we have test series that are happening periodically, right? Tests are of both kinds because I don't feel that only JEE mains is the sole criteria of some students. Some students may be interested in going abroad, so they just want good scores in grade 12th. So in order to cover all the dimensions of it, we take subjective tests as well as objective tests. They get like when you give the subjective test, you scan it, you submit it, and the expert corrects it, gives you marks, and on the basis of that you'll be able to see that okay, these are the areas of improvement I have and these are the segments where I can improve. Then you have DPPs. I have already explained. DPPs are there for you to get some basic understanding about NCRT stuff and then little edge over that. The best part is DRS, that is one-to-one sessions. In this, basically, generally the kid doesn't need it, right? But if at all kid needs it, then kid can have an individual session with the teacher where the teacher will be able to help them on an individual basis. I don't think that is like something which all the students need, right? Because some students are very comfortable with the classroom thing going on. They are easily coping it up. But in case if some help is required, they can have a one-to-one session with their teacher and they can clarify their doubts at individual level. Apart from that, we have another facility for clarifying doubts. Let's say you don't have the time to go for DRS sessions because you're already occupied and you feel that I still want to ask doubts. Then there is a facility called a doubt notebook. So in 11th and 12th grade, you will be given an access to OneNote, and that OneNote will be open for you. So you will be able to post your doubts in it. And the teacher will put the solution, write the solution in, so that whenever you want to access it, you can access it on your own. Now, this is a very big thing, understand? If let's say in a particular chapter, you face 10 doubts and you posted those 10 doubts on your OneNote. Now the teacher has written all the solutions for it. This can act as your revision material later because those are the segments where you got stuck. And if you want all the material which you need to revise, where you made mistake, right, then that's the sole location where you'll go and you'll be able to access it. Apart from all this, so we covered that, okay, how we are taking class, how parents are kept in loop, and how we will evaluate you. And next thing is, what else? So time to time, you will ask, like, if I want to, sir, do architecture, what should I do? If I want to go for aerospace, what should I do? If I want to join IIT Bombay, how much score I should get? Right? So you will have a lot of questions in your mind that if I want to do this or that, then what is the actual process of going towards it? So career guidance sessions are something that help you in clarifying those doubts. So you will have expert sessions, right, who are already there in the field, and they will tell you, like Guru Speaks is a session, you may have attended it. So they will be able to tell you exactly first-hand experience of how everything goes if you follow a particular career trajectory, basically. Last but not the least, we do live practicals and that crash course thing. So live practicals basically is a teacher will do an experiment in front of you. Although what we encourage is if you can gather materials, you can get also a first-hand experience of the same thing, right? So that the lag that you are facing that, okay, it's not offline, that will also be gone, right? But in these sessions, what they do is they will conduct practicals firsthand in front of you. And if you can gather the materials, you can do it with them. Any questions up to this point anyone has can ask? Fine. Next is this is how the basically plan for test goes. So in a year, you have chapter tests, then you have unit tests, then you have half yearly tests, then full tests. Now, chapter tests, when we talk about it, they are based on a single chapter, right? So whatever chapter is being covered, for example, let's say I covered forces and laws of motion. So once I cover that chapter, there'll be a test on that chapter at individual level in order to gauge what is your understanding at individual chapter level. Next test that you have are unit tests. In unit test, what you have combined tests. For example, 3 chapters have been covered. And you want to gauge, let's say that how I have understood like a combination of these chapters, right? So for example, I understood Newton's law really well. I was facing some difficulty with center of mass and work energy power, I'm fine, right? But when you are doing it like individual level, you are doing fine. But when it comes in combination, now you'll have to segregate that this question is from Newton's laws of motion. This question is from center of mass. This question is from Newton's laws of motion, because that thing also becomes sometimes difficult to gauge like this question is from which chapter. So unit test, first of all, gives you an idea that if you take a like combined exam of all the chapters, how will you segregate questions? What is the best strategy? Which questions to attempt first? So those kind of strategy building things start from the unit tests. Not only this, half yearly tests are also there. They will cover half the portions, right? Or sometimes even more, depending on how much portion the teacher has covered. So in this, again, there will be a combination of chapters and you will give a test on that. Now, finally, self-explanatory, there are full tests. In full test, what you do is you have the whole syllabus and on that you are gauging yourself. Now understand why full test and all these kind of tests are important, because full test gives you an idea that if the whole syllabus comes, how much you are able to score. That means when there are 10 formulas only, you are doing really well. When the formulas become 20, decent. When formulas become 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, now what is your retention power? How much you are performing, right? When all the things are coming together. And what is your memory base, basically, right? And how much analytical you can be, how structured your paper attempt is, which questions you are choosing, which questions you are attempting, what should be your exam temperament in order to score maximum marks in full test. So those kind of things come up when you have combined tests, right, in limited time, and a lot of chapters come in it. Now, the pattern of the test will be based on JEE, right? JEE means in advance. And the level of difficulty, if you see, that is like same. What the JEE keeps, we have also kept the same pattern so that you get the similar understanding. Although sometimes you will feel the paper is really tough, right? That sometimes happens because we at times want to push our students a little bit. And because of that, sometimes this happen, but no need to get discouraged by that, right? Just keep on pushing yourself and try to score as much as possible. Because if you want to reach here, you will like to prepare at this level. Any questions anyone has till this point? Okay. So next thing that we have is our JEE advanced batch. So I'll explain you what this thing is and why is it important for you. When you go for 11th grade and 12th grade, there'll be a test that will be conducted at global level. Global level means at all aspirant centers. And there will be a set of students that will be selected, right? So there will be a global selection test, right? And the students who are getting selected in this, the test will be of such a level that the students who are getting selected in these tests, they are already prepared for mains, right? And we need to push them towards advanced. Now, let's say the students who got selected for this test, 10 students, we selected for these tests. Now, for these 10 students, the preparation will be completely different. Like in regular sessions, what we do in regular sessions, we focus on mainly basic concepts, right? And then you have some numerical problems over it. And if you are like completing it really fast, then we can go a little bit above that. But here, the conceptualization starts from what can be asked in JEE Advanced only. We do not focus much on JEE Mains in these classes. They are specifically focused on JEE Advanced. And here, mainly the difficult concepts and strong analytical questions will be discussed. Now, in this, you will have different tests as well, which are specifically advanced based, and your homework will also be different. Now you may say that, sir, is it like a different batch altogether? No, you will have your regular classes. Apart from that, you will have one session per week each subject, especially for these advanced, right, topics for the students who get selected in these tests. Now, these tests happen periodically. It's not like once you get selected in this advanced batch and let's say you are not studying, then will you still be in the advanced batch? No, you'll have to continuously push yourself, right? And tests will be conducted periodically. So the student who has not get selected like the first time, they can do a little bit and they can get selected in the next attempt. And the students who are already selected, they can also go down. So you'll have to continuously push yourself because our agenda is whoever students like we have in these advanced batch, we should get 100% result out of them. Because it's not about us, it's about you as well. You are already attending like 6, 7 classes, right? Sorry, 9 classes in totality in grade 11th and plus one test. If we are giving you one extra class, we are taking your time. And if we are taking your time, we want to make sure that you get something out of it. Because if you get something out of it, it's a win-win situation for you as well as for us. But it's more important for you that your time should be worthwhile. If you are giving some extra time, you should get results from it. Now, in this, basically, we advanced batch and all, we basically focus on difficult concepts that I already informed you. Apart from that, we conduct some sessions as well, right? Why we conduct those sessions? I'll give you a reasoning behind that. That especially for the students who are preparing for JEE Advanced, sometimes they lose motivation and they settle for mains, right? They will say that, okay, I'll go for BitSat, I'll do something else, I'll not go for advanced. So for that, the guru workshop sessions, guru speak sessions basically and workshops, they help you a lot. For example, is there someone in IIT Bombay, and when they explain you how their trajectory was, and you have gone through one session, right? If they explain you what the trajectory was and how I did it, then it starts feeling doable, right? That is what I have observed, that if someone who has already done it tells you the process, then you start believing in yourself and you say, if this guy can do it, I can also do it, right? So Guru Speak sessions help you in that a lot, right? So I will suggest you to not miss any of the Guru Speak session, whatever has happened. If you have not seen it again, right? Because they were students like you who are now there in IIT Bombay, IIT Madras or whatever. Fine. These are some of the results, right, that we had in the previous years. So we have Anirudh, Nikhil, Jacob, Harshini. They were like you, right? When they joined Ask IITians. But with diligent practice, right, commitment towards their education and seeking help. That is something which I always say. You cannot do everything on your own. So sometimes you need help and seek help. It's important, right? So with teachers help, I'll say, with their hard work mostly, right? I feel that teachers contribution is 10-20%, but teachers contribution is important because they keep the student on the track, right? But due to their hard work, commitment and their continuous work, they were able to score such brilliant like ranks. There are some more ranks, right, which we got in previous years. You may know a few students. For example, Taha was there in Guru's peak session, if you remember, right? So these are some more results, and the next could be you. And that is what I wanted to convey you basically for the upcoming year, that stay motivated towards your preparation. Listen to your teacher, have faith, right? Because if you don't have faith in Ask IITians, if you don't have faith in your teacher, it's really tough to get results. Follow what they are saying because they know what they are doing, right? And give each test. Do not skip tests, do not skip classes. Whenever you feel that you are getting overburdened or you have some issues that you are facing with your studies, distraction and all, always seek help, follow the process, and 100% you will get results. Now if you have any queries, you can ask, right? Anyone has any queries, you can ask. And if you, let's say right now you don't have any queries as such, and later you come up with some questions that you want to ask, then these are basically the contact details. I hope you'll be having it, right? Just for reference, these are the contact details that you can have and you can access it. So you can always contact support. They are always there to help you. You can always ask your teachers, right? They are always there for you. Ask for help whenever needed. It's a request that I like want to have with all of you, right? And if you have any questions, it's fine. Otherwise, we'll end the session. Thank you so much for attending the session. It was a really nice experience, right? And if you come up with any doubts, again, I'm reiterating that point. These are the contact details. You can always reach out to us, any of the teachers, support, anyone, and they'll be eager to help you out.